Hello ninth class students. Today we will start a new chapter in science, that is chapter 2nd, and the name of the chapter is matter around us pure? Here you can see students, there is the heading of the chapter is itself a question. Is matter around us pure? So students, in the previous chapter, chapter 1, the name of the chapter was matter around us. We have studied about the properties of the matter, what is matter and what are their characteristic properties. In matter, we have studied that matter is anything that occupies space which has its mass. So students, anything around us that have mass and that occupies the space is matter. So we have seen so many types of matter around us, just like a table, a fan, chalk, book, your school bag, your pen, pencil, etc. All these things are matter. We have seen that matter has three states: solid, liquid and gas. So in this chapter students, we will see which type of matters are present around us and what are their properties. Are they pure or they are impure? They are combination of some other substances. So let's start students. The second chapter is matter around us pure. So first of all students, in order to understand this chapter, let's think about some matters which we uses in our day-to-day life. For example, if you take the example of the milk, some students think that they use or they drink pure milk without adding the water in it. So as students, if you don't add the water or don't add any other thing in the milk, then is milk pure? If you think that milk is a pure substance without adding the water, then you are absolutely wrong. Because in this chapter we will see that milk is also a mixture. So students, in this chapter, in this video, we will mainly discuss about the mixture, types of mixture, solution, concentration of the solution and colloidal solution. These will be our main topics in this video. So let's start the very first thing, that is mixture. What is mixture and which type of mixtures we uses in our day-to-day life? Mixture is actually students the combination of two or more than two pure substances. If we consider two or more than two pure substances, then if we combine them, then they will form the mixture. Just like if we dissolve salt in water, then they will form the mixture or solution of the salt. So now see students, the matter which is present around us is mainly found in three forms. Matter has mainly three forms. One is element, second is compound, and third one is mixture. So let's understand students what are elements, what are compounds and what are mixture. Let's see them one by one. Actually students, element is the purest form of the substance or the purest form of the matter. Let's understand how. It is pure form of the element or pure form of the matter around us. For example, if we talk about the iron, that is Fe. Fe is the symbol of iron. And you have seen gold, that is Au. The symbol of gold is Au. So if we see iron, a pure iron, then only one kind of the atoms are present in iron, that is only iron atoms. If we talk about the gold or pure gold, then only one type of the atoms are present in gold and no other types of the atoms are present there. So if only one kind, any substance which is formed by only one type of the atoms, that substance is called element. There are so many elements around us like nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen, sodium. You have studied about the periodic table in lower classes. So in periodic table, all the name given are name of the elements and not the mixture or the compounds. So students, element is the pure form of the matter around us. Okay. Now see what are compounds and what are mixture. These both are combination of the elements. These both are the combination of the elements, but there is slightly difference in between them. Let's see about the compound. When the two or more than two elements combine together in a fixed ratio, the definition of the compound is whenever two or more than two elements combine together. So students, let's see about the compound and mixture. Compound and mixture are actually nearly the same thing, but a little difference in between them. First of all, let's understand compound. In compound students, compounds are actually the combination of two or more than two elements, but in a fixed ratio. We cannot add or remove their ratio by our own. They have their fixed ratio combination. Let's see how. If we talk about the water, you know the chemical formula of water is H2O. In H2O, if we see, two hydrogens are there and one oxygen. If we see the combination of the elements by their number of atoms, then here 2:1. See, this ratio is only on the basis of the number of the atom. So 2 atoms of the hydrogen and 1 atom of the oxygen is there. If we consider one molecule of the water, so in these molecules only 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen is there. In each and every molecules, the combination of 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen will make 1 molecule of the water, not more or not less. We cannot combine 3 hydrogen and 2 oxygen, 1 oxygen or 2 oxygen, because it will not be water then. So if the elements combine together in a fixed ratio, then we call it compound. There are so many types of the compounds around us. If we talk about the mixture, then mixture is the combination of two or more than two elements or compound not in a fixed manner. For example, if we make solution of the sugar, if we take water in a glass and we add some sugar in it, we are making some drink and we are adding the sugar in it, and someone needs more sweet solution, so we can add more sugar in it. We can add less or more sugar according to our need. So it is a mixture of the sugar and water. If we want to add some salt, we can add salt in it. So this is the solution, this is the mixture of salt, sugar and water. So students, in mixture there is no fixed composition of the elements is found. The composition or presence of elements may be vary according to our need or according to the availability of the substances. Okay students, you have learned about the air around us. Air is also a mixture of gases. In air, different type of gases are present, that is nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, that is CO2. So these different types of the gases are present in air, and somehow their composition varies from place to places. If you take the ideal composition, then nitrogen is 78%, oxygen is 21%, and CO2 is 0.03% is present in air, but somehow their composition is not fixed at each and every places. So this is the mixture of the gases. Air is actually considered as mixture of the gases. Let's take another example of the mixture. That here, instead of adding sugar and salt in water, we take 1 glass of water and add some soil in it and stir it with the help of spoon, and keep the glass of water for half an hour to get settled down the soil in the bottom of the glass. So students, after some time you will see that the concentration or the amount of the soil particles is much more in the bottom of the glass as compared to the surface of the water. The surface of the water will get a little clear, but the soil particles slowly settle down in the bottom of the glass. So if we take the composition, if we take the amount of the, we consider amount of the soil in the glass, then we will see that the particles of the soil are very less in number at the surface of the glass, somehow more in between the bottom and the surface, and much more in the bottom of the glass. That means the distribution of the soil particles is not same throughout the bulk of the water. So this is also a kind of mixture. Second thing students, let's see types of the mixture. In this chapter we have to see only types of the mixture. In two examples, we have seen that if we add sugar in a glass of water and in another glass of water, if we add soil, then students, if we take a little quantity of water from anywhere in this glass, then we will see that the composition of the sugar will be same in throughout the glass of the throughout the water. So the taste of the water will be same either in the bottom or at the surface of the glass. That means the distribution of the sugar particles will be uniform throughout the glass. There will be no change in the composition of the or density of the sugar particles in the water. But here if we see in the second glass, then in second glass if the soil particles got settled down, then we found that the composition or amount of the soil particles will be much more in the bottom of the glass, little in middle section and very little at the surface of the glass. So if we take the water at different levels, then we found that the presence of the soil particles will be more in the bottom, less in the middle, and much more in the surface area, much less in the surface area. So students, here we can conclude that the distribution of the solute particles in two solution is very much difference. So according to the distribution of the solute particles in a solution, we can say that this mixture is heterogeneous and this is homogeneous. Heterogeneous and homogeneous, two types of the mixtures are there, or we can say two types of the solution. The mixture or solution in which the distribution of the solute particles is not uniform, that is not same throughout the solution, we call it heterogeneous. Hetero, that means different. The verbal meaning of the word hetero means different, and the verbal meaning of the homo is same. So if the distributions of the solute particle is same throughout the bulk of the mixture, then we can say that it is a homogeneous type of the mixture which have same distribution of the particle in it. Now students, we have to see the third thing. We have seen mixture, types of the mixture, and now we have to see solution. Solution is nothing but a type of mixture, but mixture can be of solid, liquid and gas, and solution is also can be of solid, liquid and gas. But let's see the properties of the solution. Solution is actually, students, combination of two different either element or compound, but in which one compound is present in larger amount and other compound is present in lesser amount. Let's see, or let's understand them with an example. The same example that we have taken earlier. That in water, if we dissolve salt, then this will be the salt solution. But here you can see, students, that the substance which we are adding in less quantity is salt, and the substance in which we are dissolving the salt, the substance which is used for dissolving, is water. So the substance which we use for dissolving anything is called solvent. Is called solvent, and the thing which we are adding or the thing which we are dissolving, the things which is being dissolved is called solute. Is called solute. So here, students, you can see that solution is actually the combination of two parts, solute and solvent. So we can say that a solution is actually a combination of solute plus solvent, in which the solvent is present in a small quantity and solvent is present in large quantity. But students, this is a type of solution of the solid and liquid. In so many times in our day-to-day life, we found different types of the solution, and solution may be of the solid in solid. Now, how we can mix the solid in solid? So, if we take one example of the alloys, you have seen so many types of the alloys, just like brass in our day-to-day life. Amalgam is there, which is used in dentistry services in order to fulfill the cavities of the teeth. So, alloys are the combination of two or more than two types of the metals or non-metals, or either by metal and non-metal, in which the different metals are present in fixed composition, but still we call them mixture, because in that case they have their separate identities. Each and every constituent particles or constituent metals and non-metals have their individual identity. So, that is why the alloys are considered as the mixture. Now, students, we have to see the properties of solution. So, in the property of the solution, the very first property is that a solution is homogeneous mixture. Properties of solution. So, first is homogeneity or homogeneous. In a solution, the distribution of the particles of the solute is always uniform and it has homogeneity, by which the distributions of the particles of the solute is uniform in a solution. Second thing is that in a solution, the size of the particles are very small, that we cannot see them by naked eye. If we dissolve the salt in water, then it will make a transparent solution. We cannot see the salt particles inside the water. So, the size of the solute particle, size of particles are less than 1 nm. Nm, that means nanometer. And students, 1 nanometer is equal to 10 to the power minus 9 meter. So, you can see that 10 to the power minus 9 meter, that means 1 upon 10 to the power 9, that means 9 zeros are there. If we divide 1 by 10 to the power 9 meter, then it will be equal to 1 nanometer. So, you can see here that this is very small size, that we cannot see them by our naked eyes. Third property of the solution is that due course of this very small size of the particles, these particles cannot be filtered by ideal filter paper. We cannot filter them through any filter paper. So, the next property is cannot separated by simple filter method. We cannot separate them very easily. Cannot separate by simple filtration. By SU or by cloths or by any filter paper, we cannot separate them very easily. Next property is related to the light optometry. That is, sometimes students, whenever we pass the light through a solution, the light beam of the light get scattered in the solution. But if the solution is pure, it is a true solution, then the particles of the solution will not scatter the light of the beam. See here, let's understand how this process happened. That if this is a solution, then if a light ray pass through the solution, then it will pass as it is incidenting. As the light ray is incidenting, it will pass through the solution without deviating or without scattering. So next property is, fourth property is, do not scatter light ray. That means the light ray will pass as it is going through the solution. So students, these are the four properties of the solution. If the solution is ideal solution, it is a true solution, it will follow these four properties. Next thing students, concentration. We have seen this solution, now we will see about the concentration of the solution. Concentration of the solution is related to the amount of the solute present in per unit volume of the solution. Let's understand how. In order to understand the concentration of the solution, let's take example. We take 2 glass of the water, equal amount of water is taken in the glass. 2 glass, they contain the same amount of the water, we can say that 100 ml. And here in this also the same amount of water, that is 100 ml. Now students, we want to have sugar solution of this water. So in order to make the sugar solution, we will add sugar in it, but we will add different amount of sugar in the same amount of the water. The amount of water is 100 ml in this glass, and we will add 300 gram sugar in it. And in the first glass, we will add only 100 gram of sugar. So students, you can see, or you can easily say that the water of which glass will be more sweet. If we test the water, then which water will be more sweet, either A or B, because of the amount of the water is same in both the glass, but the amount of sugar that we added is different. 300, that means more sugar in B glass, and only 100 gram, that is less amount of sugar in first glass. So we can say that the sweetness of the water of the B glass will be more as compared to the A. So how we conclude that? We concluding it by the concentration of the sugar. That is, if we take 1 spoon of the water from glass B and 1 spoon of the water from glass A, and then consider the amount of sugar present in it, then we found that the more amount of sugar particles are present in B, the water taken from B glass, and less amount of sugar will present in the water taken from A glass. So if we define the concentration on the basis of these examples, then we can say, students, the amount of the solute, here the sugar was solute and water was solvent. The amount of the solute present in unit volume of the solvent is called concentration. In unit volume of the water, how much amount of the sugar is present? So students, in order to find the concentration, we have some formulas. We can define the concentration in different terms. So let's see which are these formulas. The very first method of defining the concentration is mass by mass percentage. Mass by mass percentage, that means mass by mass percentage. Mass by mass percentage means, students, how much mass of the solute is dissolved in how much mass of the solvent, or how much mass of the solution, total mass of the solution. So the formula for defining mass by mass percentage is equal to mass of the solute, mass of right here, mass of solute upon mass of total solution multiply by 100. It will give us the mass of the percentage mass of the solute dissolved in total solution. The second is mass by volume, percentage of mass by its volume. In the very first case, we have seen that mass of the solution is considered, mass of the solute and mass of the solution is considered. But in second case, we consider mass of volume of the solution and mass of the solute. The amount which we are adding in the solution, we take only its mass, but we consider the volume of the total solution. So our formula will get changed, and the formula will become mass of solute upon volume of solution multiply by 100. This will give us the mass by volume percentage of the solute in a solution, or it will give us the concentration. The third method to express the concentration is volume by volume percentage. Sometimes, students, we have to dissolve the liquid in liquid. So if we dissolve the liquid in liquid, we take the mass of the volume of the solute as well as solution. So in third case, volume by volume percent. In order to find the volume by volume percentage, we take volume of solute upon volume of solution. Always remember that we take volume of the solution, not volume of the solvent. Volume of the solution, that means the total volume of the solute plus solvent. We will take its example, understand by example, and multiply by 100 if we want to get it in percentage form. Let's take one example and then understand. A question is given in your textbook. Let's try to solve that question. The question is, a solution containing 40 gram of common salt a solution containing 40 gram of common salt in 320 gram of water. 320 gram of water. The question is, calculate the concentration in terms of mass by mass percentage. Calculate the concentration and we have to find the concentration in mass by mass. The very first method that we have seen, mass by mass, that means mass of the solute upon mass of the total solution multiply by 100. So according to our formula, students, let's see what is given to us. Our formula is mass by mass percentage is equal to mass of solute upon mass of solution multiply by 100. So let's see what is given to us. We have given the mass of the common salt which we are dissolving in the solution. So common salt is our solute. So mass of solute is given here, given mass of solute is equal to 40 gram. This is given to us. Second thing, mass of the solution. We have seen, student, that solution is nothing but the combination of solute and solvent. So amount of water is given to us. Water is solvent here. Amount of the sugar is amount of the salt is given to us, it is solvent. So mass of the solution is equal to 40 plus 320 is equal to 360 gram. We have to take this 360 gram as mass of the solution. If mass of the solvent is there, then we would take 320 gram only. But if the mass of the solution is given, we have to put it in formula, then we should sum up the mass of the solute as well as solvent. So here, if we put the value, mass of the solute is 40 gram and mass of the solution is 360 gram multiplied by 100. Now you can easily calculate this, and if you solve this, it will come to 11.1. But always remember, students, here we are finding the percentage mass by mass. So we have to put the sign of the percent here. 11.1% salt is dissolved in the solution. This is the concentration of the solution to express in different methods.